take down the Lake Bonneville monster.
So the gull, I'm assuming that's a seagull.
I'm thinking it's a seagull.
That's a bad guy. One of the
the seagull is actually the gull is actually a good guy. That's like Batman
Oh.
in Sugarhouse Park. And then in Utah 3, we announced on Facebook a little bit ago we're working on a she-gull.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, a she-gull.
A she-gull.
Yeah. So like I said, it's I love playing with the Utah culture, and that's where Utah came from. That's his Utah #1, obviously, is his origin story.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Convo Series. I am your host RJ, aka Reg Travels.
And I guess that would make me Trevin Reiser, aka the Chosen One, back again once again. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. If you're watching this in the morning, good evening. If you're watching this in the evening, good night and good day.
Good night and good day, sir.
Good night and good luck.
Good day to you.
Welcome back.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody that's watching on YouTube, firstly, we'd like to say thank you. We appreciate you. If you're not, jump on over to YouTube. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. Like and subscribe to that. We appreciate you guys. But you guys know, if you're watching this, we already have our special guest in the studio today. I'm going to do a little short bio for him because I'm super excited to have him in the studio so we can talk about stuff that I love. Trevin, you know.
I am well aware.
So, we have a guy from Rocky Mountain Comics. That is a comics, strip here in Utah, in the Rocky Mountain area. Rocky Mountain Comics is an indie comic creator and publisher. In addition to the online comic featured on Facebook, they've written, illustrated, and done cover work on other projects, several different projects. And we have the author/illustrator here from Rocky Mountain Comics. Everyone, welcome, Travis.
Thanks for having me.
You want your last name out there?
It's okay. Travis Romney.
Travis Romney, everybody.
Welcome,
there it is.
Travis
There's the audience.
Romney.
You can't hear it right now, but in post-production, there's going to be a lot of people clapping for you.
Yeah. You guys could do amazing things with sound bites.
Exactly. So welcome. We appreciate you coming in, man. How's it going?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's an honor to have you.
Right? We've not had anybody do any type of illustration or comics or anything on the show yet. You are absolutely our first.
That's why you're not at 100 subscribers yet.
That's the reason.
Well, you heard it here. So now we got what it takes, right? Click that damn button.
Click the button, people. We appreciate you. No, so I'd like to just kind of get into like where you come from, how you grew up, and all that stuff before we get into what you actually do, the comics and everything. So, where are you from? Where'd you grow up, and all that jazz?
So I was actually born and raised here in Salt Lake, Mill Creek area.
Okay.
So it's been fun. Utah is a great place to grow up. I mean, it's one of those. We have such a unique background and so many different mixes of people and such strong cultures that it's makes for awesome material for a comic strip. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't think you can go anywhere else in this United States and find a place that has so much more cliches than we do. So
I'm gonna fight back on that because I'm from a place that's very cliche. I'm from Alabama, bro.
Alabama, the Bible Belt.
Yeah, the buckle of the Bible Belt, by the way.
One of these days we're gonna
That's
have
a
to
tongue
have
twister.
Bible Belt versus the Jello Belt and see what happens.
Jello Belt.
Yeah,
what?
Idaho, Utah, part of Arizona, Nevada.
Okay, I think I'm learning something new right
Me
here.
too, and I'm from here. Hold on.
Can you talk about what is that? What is that?
The Jello Belt. So it's I mean obviously the predominant culture here at least was the Mormons or the LDS Church.
Right.
And they're really huge into Jello.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's one of my characters, the Mighty Utah, gets his powers from radioactive green Jello.
I noticed that. We're gonna talk about the Mighty Utah later.
I
was wondering about that.
That's awesome.
Jello. Well, it makes sense.
So Utah, Idaho, Nevada, Arizona, they have very large populations of the LDS or Mormon faith, and so it's commonly referred to as the Jello Belt.
Okay.
I did not know that.
Right?
But yeah, I mean the whole like LDS is like its own culture, especially where it's like very prominent in this area. The funeral potatoes. Which RJ did learn about from me.
I was introduced to those. Shouts out to Trevin and Victoria.
And I've had the green Jello. I guess I didn't realize it was an us thing.
So specifically, the Jell-O has to be green?
Yep.
It mostly is.
Well, yeah, that's like the go-to color. It can be other colors. In fact, again, with Mighty Utah, different colored Jellos do different things to them. And spoiler alert for those who haven't read, Utah #2, funeral potatoes are actually his weakness.
What?
Yep. They're served at funerals, so it's the one thing that can hurt him.
Oh, I can't wait to get into that. Yeah, once we get into the Mighty Utah, I'm definitely going to talk about funeral potatoes because I got like some insight on that as an outsider.
Nice.
Wow. Okay. So you were born in the Jell-O belt.
Yep. Born in the Jell-O belt.
Okay.
So
right in Mill Creek's, close to Salt Lake City.
Yeah, Mill Creek's just outside. It's roughly 2,700 south, and then down on the east side of the valley.
Okay.
I loved drawing ever since I was a little kid. I think my first major piece of artwork was actually on the wall of my parents' house, and
as it usually is.
Yeah, it got raced pretty quickly. Some of the reviews were horrible, I guess. But like I said, I love drawing. Been doing it ever since I was a little kid, and I've always wanted to be a cartoonist. Especially when I was a kid, I read the Sunday Funnies with Peanuts and Baby Blues and
same.
all of them. I mean, that's how I grew up. And then when I was 6 or 7, I got introduced to my first comic book store, Dr. Volt's, which is still in Mill Creek. So
shouts out to Dr. Volt's.
Totally
shouts out
Dr. Volt's. Been going there for almost 30 years, and it just changed my world. That's what I wanted to do. And finally, about junior high school, when everybody's like, "What do you want to do?" and you tell them, "Well, I want to be a cartoonist. I want to be a comic book creator." They all laugh at you and say, "Okay, what are you really going to do?
What are you
going to really do to make money?" And so, it always was a hobby. Unfortunately, I bought into that. What are you going to do to make money? And so, high school, I decided to go into law enforcement because I just couldn't stand the idea of sitting in a desk. So
understandable.
That's why I went into law enforcement, and it was about 2014. I met a dear friend of mine who became a mentor. He's one of the co-founders of The Lady. His name's Chris Hoffman. And he had written a comic book called The Salt City Strangers.
Nice.
And at that point, I was like, if he could take this dream and go for it, why can't I? And so in 2014, that's when I started doing the Rocky Mountain comics.
Nice.
That's a really
2014, right?
Yep.
What were you saying? Sorry, Trevor.
Just that ties into what we're doing, what we talk about all the time. And our parents set us up for a world that doesn't necessarily exist anymore. And, there's always the old, you can't do that as a career, whether it be music or playing video games. Our parents told us to get off the damn video games and go outside if we wanted to make something of ourselves. Now, some of the highest paid people of our generation are gamers.
Yeah, making millions of dollars.
One of the things I'm more pissed off about is the old Pokemon cards I had when I was a kid. My parents told them, throw away. That's a waste of money.
Oh, my God.
And now that Charizard went for thousands of dollars. It's like, really? I had that card.
You had the Charizard. Dang.
I mean, like you said, it's just a whole different
That's
world.
so sad.
Yeah.
I think I had about 5 of them bitches when I was a kid.
Your studio would be twice the size of
I
that.
know, right? Instead of 2 studios, we'd have... Oh, wait, no, we have technically 3 here, right?
Yeah.
Shouts out. We'd have 6.
You'd have double.
No, yeah, but going back to what you were saying and kind of tying into what you were saying, we'll get into Velleity in a little bit. I know you noted, you mentioned it, and for our listeners, Velleity is. Could you tell them real quick what Velleity Studios is?
So Velleity Studios was actually a dream of Chris Hoffman and another dear friend of mine, Andrew Malin, and they both had separate groups of friends that they had a dream of succeeding in the comic book industry, and some of these friends weren't exactly as dedicated as they were.
Right.
So they ended up getting together, and they call it Velleity because Velleity is Latin. It means a dream without action. And so they got together because they both wanted to take action and grow and be successful. And so that's why they created Velleity Studios.
Right. Okay. So that actually ties into what I was going to say. So, we were talking about how our parents are preparing us for a world prepared us for a world that does not exist.
You won't always have a calculator in your pocket, RJ, when you're an adult.
That is very untrue. I have a calculator, I have a gaming system, I have a whole computer in my pocket.
And Fortnite players make millions of dollars.
Millions. But it goes back to our education system too. After the Industrial Revolution, people were... let's go back to before the Industrial Revolution. People were literally entrepreneurs. That's it. You were farmers, entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? people who were about their own business. And then after the Industrial Revolution came, say Henry Ford with the, what do they call it? The assembly line.
Assembly line, yeah.
So the education system changed with that. Instead of teaching people to become entrepreneurs and go into business for themselves, they had to teach you how to become. Yes, they had to teach you how to become
employees.
Employees, yes.
So that's why they teach us this cookie cutter, like you know, you gotta fit in with everybody else, and a lot of kids don't learn that way, and a lot of kids might find more success in their life in a different learning environment. You know what I mean? And not to put everything, like put the education system down completely. I know it's not a perfect system, and no system you could replace it with will be, right?
Exactly.
So not that I know everything, but...
Well, no, what I was going to say, it's also been, I mean, ever since the Industrial Revolution, you'll have these success stories like Elon Musk, and those are becoming the outliers. Now, you know, parents will be like, well, that was just a 1 in a million chance. Yes. That can't be you. That can't be you. You know, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, they created Superman, and they were rejected by almost every major comic book publisher at the very beginning. Nobody bought into Superman, except finally they came along Action Comics, and they did it. And guess what?
Yeah.
And Action Comics just sold for almost $3 million. You know, number one at auction the other day. I mean, it's like... you have to have that desire. You have to have that wish to make that happen.
Right.
And take that chance, because you never know if you're going to be the next Elon Musk or Jerry Siegel or Joe Shuster.
And if you want it bad enough, it's not a 1 in a million. It's not, you know, you might not be a billionaire at what you're doing, but if you want to make a living doing what you are passionate about, if you're good at it, you can fucking do it. If you go do it, and you have to be the guy that wants it the most.
Well, and that's another thing, is curb your expectations of success. I talk to so many people at, you know, Comic Cons and things like that sit there and say, yeah, I want to be a professional cartoonist or comic book artist, and they expect to make millions and millions of dollars, and that's just not going to happen.
Right.
Even industry leading artists aren't making millions of dollars. That's just not going to happen. And so when you get into these fields, you need to understand there are different levels of success, and just because you don't become a millionaire overnight doesn't mean that you weren't successful in what you're doing.
It's all about what success looks like to you may be different. And that's what like Gary Vee says a lot. And I'm reading Crushing It right now. Shouts out to Gary Vee.
Shouts out to Gary Vee. And if you're watching this or listening to this, drop a like and subscribe. Gary Vee, we appreciate it.
Show us some love, Gary. But what was I saying? Like you're saying, curb your expectations. You know, not everybody is meant to be a billionaire, and not in the sense that like it's not everybody's destiny, but like maybe that's not your personality. You know, there's a story he told on one of his recent podcast episodes where like he was having people who are totally content with their life. They're super happy. They have a sandwich shop or whatever it is that they love doing. That's their business. It takes care of their bills and their family. They live comfortably. They aren't millionaires. They aren't rich by any stretch of the imagination, but they're happy. Then this guy decides, I need to upscale my business, becomes a billionaire, super busy, doesn't like being an entrepreneur, doesn't like being a businessman, and hates his life every day.
Yep.
So know what's right for you. You know, you could be the next greatest YouTuber, but maybe you don't need to be famous and rich.
That is very true. I would love to go back to like where you started, Travis. So let's talk about, like, I know you said you've pretty much liked to draw pretty much your whole life, right?
Right.
And you wanted to be a cartoonist before people killed that dream and was like, you gotta have a real dream.
Yep.
So with that, what made you actually realize? I know you said you wanted to be a cartoonist or wanted to do comics. What made you realize, okay, this is what I'm going to actually go for?
So
what was that moment?
Like I said, in 2014, I'd always been doodling. I met Chris Hoffman, who's one of the co-founders of The Lady, and I read his comic. I became such a huge fan. I went to that Comic-Con that year, and that's where I met him, and we started talking. And the one thing I really noticed about him is he's just a down-to-earth, normal person. You know, it's amazing how with these our heroes and things like that, we start to idolize them and put them on these pedestals. And when I met him, he was actually just a normal guy. And so I went home and started thinking to myself, well, if he could do it, I could do it. And so that's when I went out and bought my first drawing tablet, which again was horrific. It was more of a signing tablet than it was a drawing tablet. And
I still think that's so cool, though.
It is.
I just drew a first comic strip and threw it up on Facebook and thought, we'll see what happens. And you know, at that point, it had 125 likes. But what was interesting that page went from 0 to 100 likes in the first week.
Oh, okay.
And then I did another one, and it increased to 200, and I've been doing it ever since. And now we're over 13,000 followers on Facebook. And then, you know, I started doing Instagram, and I just, it really was just one of those, if he could do it, I could do it. And I threw it up there just to see what would happen. And when I started seeing the the response, I thought, I can keep doing this. So.
Yeah, yes, I have noticed the 13,000 is, of course, over 13,000 now. I started actually following you about a month ago before I even got in touch with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because we were talking about this kind of, I don't even remember if we were talking about this on air or off air, but I'm the comic book guy between me and Trevin. So, like, I was definitely, oh, shit, there's Rocky Mountain comics? Let me check this out, you know. But I would love to get into we were talking about the Utah before. I would love to get into, like, where did that premise come from? Is it literally from just growing up in Utah and you're like, we need a superhero? So how did we get there?
So essentially, Utah has a very interesting story because, like I said, I love making the whole concept of Rocky Mountain Comics is poking fun at the Utah culture and just typical stereotypes. I try not to. I try to walk that fine line where I'm not insulting, but it's still funny.
Satirical.
Yeah. One of my favorite sayings was, if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at?
Exactly.
And so I totally started doing that with the culture. Well, I'm a bigger guy, and actually was a lot bigger than I am now. And I was playing with my son. He was 4 years old, and I was pretending to be Superman. And he made a comment. He's like, "Dad, fat people can't be Superman."
I was literally about to ask you why the Utah was, like, pudgy.
And so he looked at me and said, "Fat people can't be Superman." I was like, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. I was determined to prove my 4-year-old wrong at that point. And so I sketched out the mighty Utah, and then we started coming up with some fun anecdotes. Like, the reason he's fat is he eats too much Diet Coke and fry sauce. And then he started starring in his own little comic strips here and there. One of the first ones with the mighty Utah.
That's him. That's the mighty Utah.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Real quick, I don't know if have we talked about fry sauce? We should probably go into a little bit of detail what that is for people that are not in Utah listening.
Yeah, when I discovered it, I was like, wow, this is something.
Fry sauce is amazing for those of you who live outside of Utah. I'm sorry.
It is.
It's hilarious. My parents my mom's from back east, from Kentucky and Ohio.
Oh, nice.
And so when I went back there as a young kid, I went to there's a franchise out there called Frisch's Big Boys, and I asked for fry sauce, and the lady's like, "Oh, okay." And mom was like, "They don't have fry sauce here." No, that lady said they do.
She said okay.
And she brought ketchup to the table and set it down. And I loved how confidently she put it down. Like, there you go, kid. I'm like, that's not fry sauce.
Some sauce for your fries.
Yeah. So here in Utah, it's a ketchup and mayonnaise, and they mix it together. That being said, Ed Robin does it with I think it's barbecue sauce. They call it campfire sauce. Wow. It's delicious.
A few people are doing that now. Wendy's has a new awesome sauce. I don't know how new it is, but it's basically that. My mom's been making that since I was a kid. Like, she prefers it over the traditional fry sauce.
It's amazing. So go to Red Robin. Try it. It's awesome.
You just put this in my life right now.
Yes.
I hope you guys know that.
Replace the ketchup with barbecue.
You could do an entire show on fry sauce. I'm just saying.
Seriously. When I first got here, people were like, well, I went to, I think maybe, I don't know where I went. But anyway, they were like, "You want some fry sauce?" I'm like, "What?" Fry sauce. I'm like, I don't need any ketchup. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. But they're like, "Here's some fry sauce." I was like, okay. And so I see this orangish sauce, and I'm just like, what the?
Kind of like a pink salmon color sometimes.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, I'm not eating this shit. So, like, for the next 2 times, I didn't eat any. And then finally somebody gave me some fry sauce. I was like, Emily, at least try it, I go to try it. I'm like, this is some of the best shit
this right here
I've had.
is why you moved to Utah.
The common misconception is that it's just ketchup and mayonnaise. Although, if you're at home and you don't have real fry sauce, ketchup and mayonnaise will do. Right. I prefer Miracle Whip because it's got the tang, the zing that comes from in like restaurants when they make real fry sauce. It has like a lot of pickle juice and lemon juice in it, among other seasonings and flavors. But that's why you're not going to get the same effect from homemade ketchup and mayonnaise.
You got to be careful. You're giving away the secret recipe. Someone's going to snipe you through the window.
And those are problems we do not need.
Next thing you know, New York's going to have their own fry sauce.
I'm sitting up.
You just ruined it all right there.
Right there. No, I know, right? New York's with their fry sauce. What the hell? No, but seriously though, the one downfall about fry sauce is that you will never get the same sauce from two different places.
And they all have their distinct recipes, and you will find people in the state that will go to certain restaurants just because they like that fry sauce over somebody else's fry sauce.
I get that.
It's
I'm
hilarious.
not mad at it.
Yeah, no, it's just fact. It's the way it is. So,
yeah, this is something I was definitely introduced to. What were we talking about before fry sauce?
Mighty Utah.
Mighty Utah.
So yeah, no, that was an attempt to prove my 4-year-old wrong that fat people can be superheroes. And so Utah was born. He's Utah's Superman. Mm-hmm. And like I said, at first he started in a few comic strips. Like the first one I think I ever did with him is it said, do you know why Utah is mightier than Superman and Spider-Man? It's because they're only children. We're here in Utah. We've got to fight off 12 siblings, and it showed off a bunch of others.
Right, that's
and
hilarious.
So, like I said, it started off in that, and then, like I said, after I met Chris Hoffman and Valady, I was telling him all about it, and he's like, well, we should, his superheroes are Utah-based as well. He's got the Salt City Strangers. You've got the Gull. You've got Deputy Deseret. You've got Golden Spike, Dead Mother, and the Son of Bigfoot.
Son of Bigfoot.
I loved
this. Is my new obsession.
I know, right?
No, I loved his comic books, and so I was telling him one time it would be funny if they all teamed up and worked together, and so we actually created the Mighty Utah #1, where the Gull does a crossover. The Gull is his more popular hero. He's like Batman, but he lives in Sugar House Park and eats trash. And so we did a little crossover with him. And the Mighty Utah. And again, that first comic book was such a rough drawing because I still had the old drawing tablets that I have. But it was so fun and was such well received. I mean, we were sold out at the next Salt Lake Comic Con that we went to.
Nice.
And people, it was one of the higher grossing Kickstarters that we had for Valady and Rocky Mountain Comics. And so it was just such a big hit that it's continued, and now there's a Utah #2 sequel, and we're working on #3.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And how long have you guys been doing the team up Avengers / Justice League type thing?
So Utah came out in 2018. So roughly about that time is when we started really Rocky Mountain and Valady really started working hand in hand. We've been friends, like I said, since about 2014.
So have you within that time? And going through the pandemic like we did last year, did you see it, or did you feel an uptick of, okay, I got to get more comics out? How did that process go?
What was interesting with the pandemic, it really restricted like meetings and getting together and things like that and collaborating. It shut down a Wasatch Comic Con and Salt Lake Comic Con.
Yes, I know. I was supposed to go to Salt Lake Comic Con.
So sad. And it took out all the conventions, which is where we really sold the books. And so I really started focusing more on the web comic, so that way people had new content while they were in their house and were able to look at it on their phones or laptops and things like that. And so I really focused on that, just trying to make people laugh. That's why I originally created it, was not just to take a chance on my drawings, but I loved the Sunday funnies. Yeah. And I just want people to laugh. So that's when I started doing that. We started playing around with the pandemic. There were a few issues where Mighty Utah was fighting the coronavirus. We turned it into a monster. So, I mean, I had a lot of good time with it. But, during the pandemic, we were able to continue on with the web comic. But it really kind of put a halt to the paper comics. Got you.
Can we talk a little bit about the Demon of Devlin Hall?
Demon of Devlin Hall.
Who is the Demon of Devlin Hall, and how did you come up with that concept?
So that is actually my two favorite superheroes are Superman and Daredevil. And so the
Daredevil. That's a really good one.
So the Demon of Devlin Hall is my version of Daredevil. It's about this kid, and it's also about anti-bullying. I hate bullies. Always have. I think that's another reason why I became started in law enforcement back when I was told I couldn't do comics. Right. Is because I hate bullies. And so when I created the Demon of Devlin Hall, it's my take on Daredevil. You've got this kid who, kind of lives in the shadows. Nobody really knows who he is. He's got the hoodie. He's awesome. And he takes on different bullies throughout the school, but it's set up in a way like Daredevil, where you have your different crime bosses and your different different villains and things like that. And so we kind of parody a little off of the Daredevil comics.
Nice.
So if you like Daredevil, you'll really like the Demon of Devil.
I love Daredevil, and this one I've been telling you that you should get into.
That sounds like really legit.
Daredevil is one of my favorites, and I think it's because he's a street level hero, so he's other than his like radar sense and his enhanced senses. the problems that he deals with are very like normal problems.
Yeah.
He's not out there fighting Thanos, who's destroying half the galaxy. He's fighting, your
a crime syndicate or something.
Crime syndicate or some dirtbag landlord who's trying to kick out old ladies. And he's also got the
it's one of the episodes actually.
Yeah. And he also has a awesome dynamic between his faith and what he does as a superhero. He's a diehard Catholic. And so he actually has to go to confessional because, he goes out and, beats the crap out of all these people. He has
kicks ass.
He has these lines he won't cross, and yet the people he surrounds himself with, like Punisher, Elektra, they all are willing
constantly
to
crossing all the lines.
Yep, and he doesn't want to. So, I mean, the dynamic and character development in Daredevil is just beautiful, and I think it's a loss on a lot of people. I don't think that's why he's one of the more popular superheroes, but he is awesome. So,
what is his name that plays Daredevil? Charlie
Cox.
Cox.
Yeah.
Man, I can never see
new
another
one?
Daredevil. Again,
in Netflix.
That's not Charlie Cox.
Oh,
it's like Tony Stark. He is Robert Downey Jr.
Oh yeah.
Charlie Cox is Daredevil.
Well, they launched that Save the Daredevil campaign, and what I'm really loving with again social media, podcasts, and all these things is the pressure it's having on the major studios. I mean, you look at Release the Snyder Cut for the Justice League.
Yes!
And it actually pushed DC and Warner Brothers to release the Snyder Cut. Save the Daredevil campaign or Save the Devil campaign pushed Marvel that, at the moment it's rumors, but there has been some confirmation Charlie Cox is reprising his role as Daredevil
that would be
in
incredible.
the upcoming Spider-Man 3 movie that comes out in December.
Right.
So, I mean, like I said, it's awesome that these social media and these grassroots campaigns are pushing these major publishers to listen to their fans and be like, okay, well, we got to do this. So.
Exactly.
The internet rules now. The internet,
yes, 100%.
And not in like, it rules, man, like kind of way, but like, the internet is God now almost. It
is the number one thing.
My favorite thing is like there's no more gatekeepers, right? For like any of these industries.
Or they are very, very much so dissipating.
They still exist, but there's a lot more of them. And there's a lot
less influence from the gatekeepers, I guess.
So like if you're going like our route, the podcast on YouTube and Spotify, you can do that without having to get the go ahead from anybody.
Right.
But yeah, that was just like a side point. I don't want to go too deep on a tangent.
But actually, can we hop off on a tangent
your
and
show.
talk about the comic book movies and all that stuff?
Sure.
So you said you've always loved Superman
and
Daredevil. So you're not really a DC or Marvel.
So if it really depends on what you're looking for. That's the hardest question. It's funny. It's a whole
very hard.
DC versus Marvel, and I've always been one of those. It's really hard because for me it depends on what you're looking for. DC has more of these grandiose, like Superman, like godlike characters. Superman, Wonder Woman, and even the argument everybody Batman's a street level. Yeah, that's what he started off as, but lately Batman's been sitting in the Morbius chair. On Apocalypse, he's also been taking on these major villain. So I even look at Batman as one of those with enough prep time is the cliche that he could take on anything. and so
that's the thing with Batman, prep time.
Yeah, prep time. You have these DC characters that are really larger than life, whereas Marvel, I know with the Infinity
Stones.
The Infinity War saga that just went on in the movies. It really blew it up. But if you go back to the original Marvel movies, Captain America, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, they are also very street level, organized heroes.
Very human like.
That have real human problems. And it's awesome to see how each industry affects each other. Because if you notice now, they just released Superman and Lois. That's another TV show.
Which is actually good. I didn't expect that to be good.
What they did is they actually took this superhero with godlike powers and made him a father, and now he's got to deal with kids and actual teenage drama.
And that dynamic humanizes him so much.
And they took, and that's what's awesome about it, is they took this godlike hero and made him more of a human, and people have never really seen him like that before. So, I mean, in the comic books, they have what's called Super Sons, and it's Jonathan Kent, Superman, and then you have Damian Wayne, Robin, who's Batman's son.
Interesting.
And it's about their adventures, and so that's kind of where the idea of Lois and Superman and Lois came from, was from those two books. And that's one of the more popular books because you essentially have these two superhero kids going on adventures and getting in trouble, and their dads have to come in and kind of correct course.
So I would like to just say that I've always been a DC fan, from the very beginning. I am DC through and through. Justice League, Superman. My favorite hero of all time, who is the best superhero, by the way. I will let all of you know right now. Fight me.
Here first.
The Flash. Best superhero of all time.
Number one.
Disagreed. Utah. Utah is the best.
Okay, besides the Utah, the Flash is the best superhero in the U.S. other than Utah. So let's get back to the Utah, if we could. The green Jello.
Okay.
Let's talk about how he got his superpowers. Let's talk about a little bit of his villains.
Okay, so the Mighty Utah in issue number 1. He's just this big, heavy guy struggling with weight issues because, again, that's how he started.
That is so incredible.
I relate already.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's how he started with my 4-year-old. And so, he gets invited, and you're going to, well, I have to paraphrase, we're going to be dabbing into a little bit of the Utah Mormon LDS culture. Mm-hmm. So he gets invited to this singles word dance. And so essentially what that is in Utah is if you're not married in the Mormon or LDS church, you have these single wards that they ask you to go to.
Okay.
And so
is it like
it's where they try to
dating?
It's like where they try to get you married really quick.
Okay.
So
in the culture, the LDS culture, the idea is to get you married and graduated from BYU by 18, and then you need to start popping out as many kids as humanly possible.
My goodness.
Yes, that sums it up pretty well. Yeah.
Thank you.
And just so you're aware, just again, background, I grew up in the LDS church. I'm really no longer active, but at the same time, that's the culture we live in.
Right. Same, like my whole family is involved.
So so he gets invited, and when he goes to the dance, he's all excited. It's a potluck, which is another big Utah thing where you have to bring your own food to parties. So he decides to make Jell-O, but he's never made Jell-O before. So he's mixing in a bunch of ingredients, and then he puts it in the microwave and nukes it forever, which makes it radioactive.
Of course, radioactive.
And so he takes it to this dance, and nobody wants to eat it because it looks disgusting. Are those carrot slices in the Jell-O? I'm not sure. So they don't want to touch it. And as he's there at the dance, he realizes the person that invited him only did it because nobody else was going to, and she was trying to be charitable because that's another thing in Utah is trying to fellowship and outreach to people that aren't active. So he gets upset, leaves, takes his Jell-O home, sits in his recliner crying, and he starts eating Jell-O because that's what people that are like be overweight do when we're sad, is we sit in chairs and eat Jell-O.
Comfort food.
And then he goes to bed, and overnight that Jell-O makes him sick. So
the radioactive Jell-O.
He throws it out, and the next morning he wakes up and he is as strong as Superman. He's invincible. He can't fly. He leaps, which if you know anything about Superman, originally he couldn't fly. He just jumps. So he's got all the basic powers of the original Superman. But he throws the Jell-O out because he thinks it's sick, and there's this little green cricket out there that eats the Jell-O, and it turns this little green cricket into a genius, like a Lex Luthor level genius. Which, again, if you know anything about the Utah culture, the little green crickets, when the Mormon pioneers first settled here, they had crickets come out and eat all their crops, and so the legend goes that they prayed, and then a flock of seagulls came down, ate all the crickets, and that's why the seagulls are the Utah bird. So the green cricket is.
I did not know that.
I thought they were like big, like locusts.
For those of you watching on YouTube, welcome to Utah History 101. We will be grading.
We will be grading.
So anyway, the bad guy that is the green cricket, and so. The green cricket has this idea that he's decided to take revenge on the ancestors of the pioneers, or the descendants of the pioneers. So he discovers this legend of the Lake Bonneville monster, which Lake Bonneville used to cover all of the Salt Lake Valley. Okay. And so he goes and raises the Lake Bonneville monster, and then that's when Utah has to step up and see if he can. I'm not going to spoil the book, but has to see if he can, take on the Lake Bonneville monster, and he runs into the Gull in Sugar House Park, and they team up to try to take down the Lake Bonneville monster.
So the Gull, I'm assuming that's a seagull.
I'm thinking it's a seagull.
It's a bad guy. One of
the seagull is actually the Gull is actually a good guy. That's like Batman in Sugar House Park. And then in Utah 3, we announced on Facebook a little bit ago, we're working on a she-gull.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, a she-gull.
A she-gull.
Yep. So, like I said, it's I love playing with the Utah culture, and that's where Utah came from. That's his Utah number 1, obviously, is his origin story.
So, amongst these superpowers that you've named, being able to leap tall, the Wells Fargo building.
Yep, the Wells Fargo building in a single bound.
Wait, I'm sorry. I actually have this. What was it? Faster than a Salt Flats race car. more powerful than a front runner train. That's a Utah thing. Able to leap the Wells Fargo building in a single bound. And he's Utah's mightiest hero, the mighty Utah.
Can I just a little bit of background there?
Before you do that,
go ahead.
I was leading to this part.
Oh, okay, keep going then.
With all those superpowers that I named, you kind of forgot one important superpower. He was a very strong peer.
He is.
He broke the urinal while trying to pee.
Oh my! I'm gonna put that on screen right now.
We'll do it on screen. You guys, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're looking at this.
Yep.
And then can
Let
you
me
mark
see
that time,
one
Victoria?
more time.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, he's breaking the urinal with his pee.
Oh my God! Shattered the
this
urinal.
is hilarious.
Can I just say
ahead.
there was aside from I guess memes, like there's so much like to this like Utah culture, the LDS culture, and all of that. Like the best way I've ever seen it satirized ever. Like this is the greatest thing to me now.
Yeah, imagine me. I'm learning too with this.
And you're the comic book fan.
I know. This is all great.
See, I just set out to make people laugh, but now I'm educating. Like I said, I could go teach Utah history now.
in comic book form. But right now we are going to go ahead and take. Did you say what you wanted to say?
Oh, I was going to go off. You mentioned the other three superpowers.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give some background on one. The Salt Flats are so like you were saying, Lake Bonneville covered like most of northern Utah back when. I don't know if it was like around the time of dinosaurs ish. So like you can on the shelf of the mountains you can find like shells and like big shells and cool stuff. They found I think like shark bones down in the valley.
Wow.
Yeah, like maybe even megalodon. Don't quote me on that. Anyway,
I'm quoting you. You heard it here first.
So the Salt Flats is this big flat
Comment
spot.
all your corrections on YouTube.
Straight up.
It's just like all salt. It's just flat, and people like drag race and stuff out there.
Yeah.
What was the second one? The Wells Fargo building is one of the tallest buildings in downtown Salt Lake City.
Yes.
If not the tallest. I don't know downtown that well.
I don't think it's the tallest anymore, but it's more of the well-known ones because you got like KUTV News and everything like that.
Yeah. And it says Wells Fargo at the top.
It would normally. And then more powerful than a front runner train.
The front runner is the passenger train that is what's the government thing? UTA.
Yeah.
Utah Transit Authority. Like the city buses that goes north to south.
It's because kids these days don't know what real trades are, so...
Yeah,
you
that's
ask
true.
The train, they think Wild West, where they understand front runner and track, so...
See, that makes so much more sense. And on that note, while we're making sense, we're going to go ahead and make some more sense with these ad breaks. We'll be right back after this.
Hey, everybody listening out there and also watching the video on YouTube and wherever you listen to the podcast audibly. We appreciate your support and you sticking with us every week. For now, it's been just over a year we've been doing the show.
Incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. And we've been working hard to pump out quality content. You know, we've had amazing guests on the show and we've had extra content and a reaction channel now. Yeah. So if you want more Convo series in your life and you just can't get enough, you can get merch available now. All you have to do is contact us. How, Reg?
You can either hit us up on all social media. That's one way you could do it. Just DM us. Or if you want to just email us, you can email us at convoseries@gmail.com. You want to tell them about Vision Media, the parent company.
You can go to Vision Media. That's Vision, Vizion. Media, how you think it's spelled, LLC.com.
.com.
And you can reach us there. I think it's got a direct way to contact us just right through the website. So it's pretty simple. All the merch is made to order, and now for the first time ever, we have Vision Media hats in black and blue. So get those today and get all of your Convo Series merch as well.
They're made to order.
They are made to order, so make sure that you put your orders in early so we can get them to you in a timely manner. It is quality merch, so hit us up.
Hit us up.
And smash that like and all that stuff.
And again, we appreciate all the listens and your support. This is just another way to support us.
You guys keep us going. And if you want, a way to show people that you support or that you watch, listen to Convo Series, that you support Vision Media, there it is. So let us know, contact us and get your merch ordered today.
Thank you again.
Thank you a bunch of times.
Thank you more than him.
So many times.
More than him.
More than him.
Like to infinity and beyond.
But mine is that times 2.
You can't. No, I said beyond.
+1.
That's beyond.
So I was thinking, like, I was on the phone with that guy, and he was like, you have a voice for radio. You should be on radio. And I was thinking about, like, maybe we should, like, do a podcast or, like,
Yeah. A lot of people these days, like, are talking about starting a podcast. But, a lot of people never do.
Yeah. Where do you even get started? Like,
well, dude, I got a cure for that.
Folks at home, does this sound like a conversation you've ever had?
Does it? Seriously.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation.
A lot of people have. And you know what? The thing it really comes down to is just doing it. And if you've ever had this thought or this conversation, like so many people who are now podcasters, don't be afraid to take that step. You can contact us right now. And how can they do that?
Well, you can just go to our website or follow us on any social media at Vision Media LLC. If you want to go to the website, visionmediallc.com. But either way, you should check us out, see what we are doing, because we do a plethora of things if you're thinking about doing anything.
We do.
Especially people, the local people here, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're local, we do offer studio time in-house. You can record here. If you're not local and you would like to send us footage accompanied by sound files and anything that you might need, you can even start on an iPhone. Send us the files and we will handle post-production and even distribution at probably the best price.
At absolutely the best price. Absolutely the best price.
And you
guys.
heard it here first.
You heard it here first. No, seriously, all you have to do is record and send us your files. We do the editing however you want. We create your intro song. We do the distributing, all for one price. It's the best price you're gonna find. So it only makes sense to check us out.
It only makes sense. And
back to your regularly scheduled whatever.
Heard it.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Done.
Me and this Coke are just having a horrible. That's the new nemesis. The Coke. The Coke is my nemesis.
The other day I saw something online. They were doing like orange Coke, and the comment underneath was the best. It's like, if you're not gonna, unless you're putting cocaine back in Coke, leave it the hell alone.
Leave it alone. And the thing is, I don't even drink sodas.
Yeah.
Like I just need the caffeine for today. Yeah.
That reminds me, I saw one. They got that new one. It's like coffee and Coke, and I was like, does it just like have more caffeine, or is it an energy drink?
They do.
Or is it
coffee
just
Coke.
coffee, like the Monster coffee? No, it's coffee and Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I heard it was really good though.
I saw like on the ad, like, well, it was a meme, but like the first comment or the top comment was like, they really just want to put cocaine back in it, don't they?
They're getting
They're trying everything
to that line as possible.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Convo Series. We appreciate you listening to those ads. Go do what we said to do.
Subscribe and buy the merch.
Make sure you do that.
And hit me up for any, any kind of media production work you need done.
And all that stuff.
Actually, hit RJ up and he'll hit me up.
We'll
tell your people to tell my people. I'm just kidding.
And we'll get those people together. So back to Travis Romney with Rocky Mountain Comics. We were talking about the Utah, right? We were talking about his superpowers. Right. Now, you mentioned something earlier. His for lack of a better word, kryptonite are funeral potatoes.
Funeral potatoes.
Now, can we explain for the listeners what funeral potatoes are? Because nobody saw that. Because I actually didn't know what the hell they were until I moved here. Even then, it took a couple of years.
It was only recently. And we've talked about it on the show, but it was on the show where you heard the word funeral potatoes together for the first time.
It was the podcast with your new best friends.
It was
the first.
Shouts out to YNBF.
Shouts out to you guys. You should listen to them. They are fucking hilarious. All of you guys should listen to Your New Best Friends podcast. They are hilarious.
And whatever creams your Twinkie. WCYT feature Flavor and Jack Boy. That's JAC. Sorry. Real quick plug for our new show.
True that. We do have a new show under Vision Media, so make sure you go listen to Whatever Creams Your Twinkie.
And it's not even us. In my opinion, they're funnier. So.
Yeah, they're funnier than us. Seriously. Funeral potatoes.
Funeral potatoes.
Let's talk about what exactly funeral potatoes are. What the hell, Travis?
I just think it's funny that only in this place can you go from what creams your Twinkie to funeral potatoes. And funeral potatoes are the more serious conversation.
Right. Okay. Funeral potatoes.
So funeral potatoes. So
what are these things?
in Utah, funeral potatoes are a staple of every funeral. When you go to it, you'll have people bring funeral potatoes. Sometimes they'll bring multiple funeral potatoes, and just like fry sauce, everybody has their own different recipe on how they make it.
Okay. And it's kind of like a casserole.
Yeah, it's like you were actually during the break telling us how you make it, so please.
No, well, I would like to say that Trevin doesn't make them.
Oh.
Let's give the respect and honor to who is due to. Shouts out to Victoria.
Shouts out. You can go ahead and tell them if you want a little bit about your funeral potatoes.
Victoria?
It's really just like a creamy potato mixture with cheese, and you bake it. And honestly, it is so good. So good.
And it's sad that they're only brought out really at funerals. So
What type of potatoes though? Because this is the specific part.
You can use shredded or like country potatoes, just like the little cubes. I think that we usually use shredded though.
Some people use like au gratin.
yeah,
Weirdos.
Again, everybody has a different recipe for
Oh my
funeral
gosh, I
potatoes.
haven't tried them with au gratin. That sounds so good.
I'm gonna write down a list. This
Right.
is what I'm gonna do. No, so because they're always used at funerals, they represent death. In fact, I did a Rocky Mountain comic story where a guy's purchasing the ingredients for funeral potatoes, and at the very end, the store clerk looks at him and goes, "Oh, who died?" I mean, just right off the bat,
Yeah.
exactly who it was.
So that's what it's.
And so that's what Utah's weakness is funeral potatoes. And like I said,
Just makes them sad. Oh, who died?
we discovered that in issue 2. We also discovered in issue 2 that green Jello gave him his powers. Red Jello makes him evil. So just like different, like in Superman with different colored kryptonites.
Right.
Do different things. Different colored Jellos affect Utah differently.
Interesting. All right. I want to ask so much. I don't know how much you want to let go.
So issue number 2 is awesome because issue number 1, Utah teamed up with the Gull. Issue number 2, he actually teams up with a whole team of the Salt City Strangers. And when Utah goes crazy because of the red Jello, it's up to the Salt City Strangers to stop him.
Wow.
Okay. Dang it, man. This is so good. All right. So, is the Utah only? Is it strictly like online, or can we go anywhere else? Hold on. I'm sorry. I got notes here. I'm trying to be professional. Or can we go anywhere else, like Dr. Volt's and the Nerd Store?
Yep,
to get your comic books.
Dr. Volt's and the Nerd Store have Utah number 1, Utah number 2, the Demon of Devlin Hall, and Deputy Deseret. I did the cover work for.
Oh,
and
nice.
So shouts out to Dr. Volt's and the Nerd Store. There's
Shouts out.
Black Cat Comments in Sugar House.
Oh, I know Black Cat.
It's awesome how the geek or nerd culture in Utah is just one big family. Everybody really knows each other. Everybody supports each other.
Yeah.
Everybody works with each other. I mean, it's awesome. So, you got Mr. Bell up at Dr. Volt's. You got Roger Prowse at Nerd Store. And it's just awesome.
Nice. So shouts out to Dr. Volt's and the Nerd Store and Black Cats.
Shouts out.
And
Shouts out.
Black Cat.
Black Cat Comments in Sugar
Black
House.
Cats. Shouts.
That's kind of our thing. Sorry. Shouts out.
Shouts out.
What's really cool is Roger and Charles at the Nerd Store. They also do what's called Wasatch Comic Con, and that's in August of this year. And it's on the 13th and 14th of August at Valley Fair Mall. And what's cool about it is
We should do this.
Are you going to be there?
Yeah, are you going to be there?
I will be.
So you
there
heard it
'cause
here first.
We'll come with cameras, maybe.
What's cool is it's a creator-focused Comic Con, and it's free. So everybody there are comic creators.
That's the best part.
It's not you're not getting your big Hollywood stars like Tom Holland or anything, but you're getting like Phil Sebi, who's a local who did Tomb Raider. He also did the cover for Utah number 2. Doug Wagner is an amazing author and writer for comic books. He's one of my favorite people.
Shouts out.
And like I said, it's just they basically take a whole hallway of Valley Fair Mall, and you'll have creators of different comic books up and down the line.
Right.
They had I can't remember his name. It's the artist and writer behind 30 Days of Night, the original comic book that became a movie. There they had
never heard of it, but interesting.
Ninja Turtles. He was there. I mean, just awesome stuff. So that's in August, and then of course FanX or
September.
Salt Lake Comic Con is September, and it's the 16th, 17th, and 18th, and I'll be there as well.
Nice, I'll be at that one. So let's talk about getting your comics into Comic Con since we're on this train here. Okay. FanX, which is the big Comic Con here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and then let's talk about that because. Let's just be honest. We were talking earlier about how some comic book creators or people who are inspired to become comic book creators only go so far. And what was the joke you said? 20 years later?
Oh, yeah. I had a gentleman come up to me at a Comic-Con, and he's like, I had the greatest idea for a comic book. I'm working on it. I'm 3 pages in. And I was like, that's awesome. How long have you been working on it? He goes, about 20 years. I'm like, oh.
You're 3 pages in.
3 pages in for 20 years.
And believe me, pages in comic books take a while, but not 20 years.
Not 20 years worth. So. It's about 8 years a page.
Yep.
So my question is, how did you get into the actual Comic-Con scene? Because I know you've told us you've done panels, things like that. How does one get from, I think I'm going to create a comic book into I'm doing panels now at Comic-Con?
It goes back to that adage in elementary school, ask questions. So nice. After I met Chris Hoffman and Andrew Malin with Velady, and we started working on issue number 1, they were already invited to the Comic-Con, so they had me come to do some signings with the book. Nice. I just got to know other people, and I started asking, hey, how do I do this? Hey, I want to be a part of this. How can I? And again, the nerd and geek culture in Utah is amazing in the fact that they really are here to help raise people up and not keep people out. And so they really work with you on this is a person you need to talk to. This is
nice.
This is how you would do it. That's how you go about it. And then you just start making friends and you just can't be afraid to put yourself out there. And I think that's another problem people have.
That's another thing. Yeah.
They're afraid to ask that question because they're afraid of being rejected. And what's awesome is you'll have people out there that will give you great critiques. And that's the other thing is you have to be able to accept criticism.
Right.
100%.
And understand it's coming from a place where they want to help make you better. So even if they come in and say, okay, what you did is trash, this is what you need to work on. You need to take that as a challenge and do better the next time because it does make you better.
Right.
So
I've been saying this all the time. Failure is the important part. Failure is the good part. That's where you learn what not to do. Right. And if you're born knowing what to do, then why are you asking questions? Go fucking do it and shut up about it.
Exactly.
But, we say this all the time, but this what you're saying translates to anybody wanting to do anything that they love or are good at. Go fucking do it.
Right.
Go do it. And if you're worried that you're going to fail, then don't. Don't ever do it. And then you can worry in 40 years and wonder. But, I'm serious. Like, in anything like this, in what I do, my favorite thing is failing. Because, okay, now I get to start something that will be better.
Most important part of falling down is getting back up again.
Exactly. You know how many presidents ran like 30 times before getting elected?
Yeah, that's very true.
Like, you know how many quit after the first time? No, you don't, because you've never heard their name.
Yep.
So with you, the first time you grabbed the little tablet thing and started doing your illustrations, and you realized, probably didn't realize at the time that they were trash.
Oh no! At the time, I was like, "Well, this looks okay," because I used to draw. Just strictly on paper. And that's still a technique that you can use: draw on paper and then scan it in, do your editing through Procreate or Sketchbook and different programs like that. But I thought to myself, if I'm going to do this, I want to try, doing it all digital right off the bat. So that's when I got that, and I put it up, and I was like, oh, this looks okay. And then after I got the first 200-300 likes, and like I said, that was within the first month and a half, I thought, okay, maybe I'm onto something. I'll invest a little bit more of my money, and that's when I went and got an iPad Pro for the first time, and when I started actually sketching on that, looking at the thing, I was like, oh, how do I get people to actually like this? And then, it's gotten better as I've practiced more years. Different tools, different apps have come out, and it's been awesome. And I've actually sat down with other artists who, work on the same platforms that I do, and they will, spend 2-3 hours showing me, okay, this is, some tricks that I've learned, and then I'll show them tricks that I've learned, and that just makes us better.
That was my next question. I was going to ask you, how did that progress happen? Did you take illustration classes, or
Yeah, so I ended up getting an associate's degree in art. So I did, and before I did that, when I started the comic strip, and everybody's like, you need to, every artist I talk to says you don't necessarily need, college courses or things like that, but they help because that's where you can actually go and learn to draw. And so that's when I started taking some college courses. But again, a lot of the ways I learned to draw came from other artists and just sitting down talking with them. How did you do this? And then them telling me, this is how I did it. Because again, most people are out there to help others succeed. They're not out there to be like, I can't tell you, this is my secret fry sauce recipe. And but, they're actually out there to help. And so it's just a matter of getting out there and asking questions.
Yeah, I think that's so cool because like in a lot of industries, like creatively, like the music industry or like in some like YouTuber scenes, people are kind of like territorial about their like, this is what I do. Don't
their
try
style
to,
and everything.
you don't even have to copy their style. But if you start doing videos like they're doing videos, they'll just be like, like they don't want to share the love. When in this day and age, like we don't have to fight for audiences online. There's so many people online consuming content that you can have 1 million followers and still not be like, you won't be famous enough to not be able to go to the store. We can all share this thing that's happening and we can all grow and be like, so any industry or any like local scene that supports people learning and getting into it, like that's just so cool. Back to what I was saying earlier, like, what you're saying, like how you got into it and how you got to where you are, like translates to everything else. But if you're listening and you're interested in getting into the comic book scene, now you know how, I guess, chill it is here. So, if anything, like take that away and go get it, man.
Well, and it's awesome because 2014, I was in that place where I was asking questions, and Chris and Andy were awesome enough to teach me. And now I get people asking me, and I'm trying to pay it forward by showing them. And I'm sure you guys are aware through the podcast and stuff, everybody's path is going to be different to getting to your own version of success.
Oh, yeah.
Just because this worked for me doesn't mean it's going to work for somebody else. But that being said, you take these tools that you learn throughout and go forward. And one of the first things I tell everybody is, look, don't quit your day job, okay? It's not an insult to your talent or your future, but you have to have a way to pay your bills while you're getting off the ground. And, for me, it was law enforcement. And I'm at a point now where I'm, about 7 years away from being able to collect my pension, and then I'll collect my pension and be able to do my, comic books full time in my retirement. Nice. And so having a plan and routing it in the way to pay for it as well as succeed in it is the way to go. I have one guy came up to me and commented, so I quit my job 2 weeks ago and I'm going to do this all the time. Okay, how many fans do you have? Or, how many books? I have had none, but I'm going to do this. It's like I appreciate the dedication. I really do, but you're not going to be able to pay bills with this for a while. So make sure you pay your bills
because it doesn't just like pop off.
Yeah, no. In the comic book industry and podcasts and everything, you have to have that base. You have to have that fan base.
Exactly.
And that demand for content.
A lot of really great podcasts took like 2 years before they started getting like even monetized on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it's same with comic books. There are people that still have day jobs or part-time jobs and do this, draw. It's just how it is. It's, unfortunately, getting enough fan base to translate to enough money to stay home and do this as a full-time job is a lot tougher than people think. And so make sure you do it realistically.
Right.
It is doable.
Yeah, it is doable.
It is 100% doable. Like they said it wasn't, the last generation.
It is doable. It just takes time.
Yeah, but know what you're doing.
And the passion is not enough. Passion alone is not enough. Passion and motivation. I'm trying to say this again so I can get it through your heads, listeners.
What was the word?
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that.
Sorry.
that's my transition here. But passion and motivation are not enough to build a business, to build a lifestyle. That's where we get to velleity. I think we mentioned it a little bit earlier, right?
Yep.
While we were on air.
Yep, that velleity, stemmed from a bunch of people wanting to do something but not having the motivation or drive to do it.
Right.
Or having the motivation and drive to stick with it.
Yeah, because I, when I was younger, in junior high, maybe a little bit, like first beginning of high school, I created my own comic strip. Yes, it was called Spuds, and it was about two potato best friends. I know, right? This is weird.
I want to read it.
I don't know where
I don't know,
it
it
is.
seems a little starchy to me.
Oh my gosh. Damn it!
I am so delightfully like surprised at how funny he is.
I loved it. But yeah, it was about two.
Please tell me the ending. They get turned into fries and dipped in fry sauce because based on our conversation, that'd be
if I lived in Utah, that's what would have happened.
Yeah. They died a very
their arch enemy. They get turned into funeral potatoes, and then like people put fry sauce on them. No, they used to just play tennis. They were tennis buddies.
Oh,
it was weird because one of them had like a long swoop. Okay, like right in the
one of them got hit with the tennis racket, and then he was French fries.
Then he was French fries.
And instead of
I'm gonna create this back up, baby.
And you could actually have it all red. They get the most gory thing, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's ketchup."
You guys heard it here first. I'm bringing Spuds back.
Hell yeah.
No, but so that was like it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a passion of mine, but it was something because, like I said, I've loved comic books and everything.
Right.
Even right now, back at home in Alabama, my mom's house, I have a big ass case of just like #1 issues and all types of stuff of it's mostly DC.
Yeah.
But yeah. So going back to Validity.
Yep, Validity.
How did you start with that? Is that something that you were brought in on, Validity Studios?
I was brought. So originally, Rocky Mountain Comics, when I first started, was called So Utah, and because at the time I was living in St. George, and you had Southern Utah, So Utah, and I really didn't think at the time that my fan base would extend beyond my friends in St. George, and then when it really went statewide. And what's awesome about the Facebook analytics is you can actually start seeing where your fans are from. And so I was like, wow, I'm all over the state. That's when I decided to change it to Rocky Mountain Comics to make it a little more statewide. But when I met Chris and Andy, they'd already started Validity, and we're doing their own books. Like they've got Salt City Strangers, The Gull. They do an awesome book called Ruthless. It's more of an adult graphic novel, but awesome book. Go check that out. And so they also decided to turn Validity into more like a publishing house type thing. So they've got another artist that does a book called Kerman, and then they did The Mighty Utah, and like I said, we did crossovers, Demon to Devlin Holland. So it's have you ever, you know what Image Comics is, right?
No.
So Image Comics was created back in the 90s, and it was essentially a bunch of Marvel artists like Jim Lee and a few others that got really fed up with the way Marvel was doing things, so they left. And so they created Image Comics, but underneath that Image Comics umbrella, they each had different publishing houses. So you had Wildcats, Wildstorm, and it's kind of what Validity did. Is they created Validity Studios, but underneath it you've got like Rocky Mountain Comics, you got Hoffman English Studios, and different things like that.
Right.
So Validity's kind of our umbrella, but underneath you've got different publishers. So.
I got you. We're no strangers to that here.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And so I know you were on your Facebook bio, it says that you've been a part of other projects. What other projects not under Rocky Mountain have you been a part of?
So the biggest one that I really enjoyed doing was Deputy Deseret. And that was kind of a one-shot issue off of the Salt City Strangers. There was somebody else that wrote it. Somebody completely outside of Validity, he wrote it, and then they had another artist draw it, and then I was asked to do the cover for it just because of my passion for the Salt City Strangers.
Right.
So I did that. I've done, like Gull 3, I did a story in there, wrote and drew a story about, I drew a story, Chris Hoffman's the one that wrote it about the Gull versus a squirrel in Sugar House Park.
Squirrel.
So, I mean, different things like that I've been contributing artists to. Other people have asked me to reach out, and I've done cover work for them too. So
we should probably reach out to you for some cover work, to be completely honest. That's dope. What has been your favorite project that you've done so far?
It's that old cliche, and my favorite one is the one I'm currently working on because that's what I'm passionate about. So right now I'm really putting a lot of effort into Demon of Devlin Hall 2. I'm really enjoying that.
That hasn't come out yet.
That has not come out yet. It's looking like I'll be able to. My goal is to get it done before Wasatch Comic Con in August and have it there for that show, and then also in FanX in September.
Oh, nice!
So I'm hoping to have that done, but like I said, it's looking like it. I'm more than 2 pages and 3 pages in, so that's a good thing.
So fans of that know that the second one is coming.
Yep,
now.
Fans of that know that the second one's coming, and then like I said, Utah 3. We're also. In the early stages of development for. Like I said, we're going to introduce She-Gull. We announced that on the Facebook page.
She-Gull.
Yep. So
I can't wait. I haven't even read the first two. I can't wait for the new one.
And then, like I said, we are constantly throwing up quick ones on our Rocky Mountain Facebook page that kind of make fun of current events that are going on right now. And
just like short strips.
the last one was a single panel that was making fun of the housing prices these days. It's a real estate agent standing next to a porta potty.
Oh, yeah, I have that one, actually.
Standing next to a porta potty saying this one bedroom or this one bathroom residence is a great deal. It's $400,000. So
it's a great deal.
Oh, no, I didn't screenshot that one, but that one is hilarious. I have seen that one. And then there's this one here.
This is... Hold on. Oh, no porn filter on the cell phone.
So one of the things we like to do is we like to make fun of current events, and the legislature passed a bill that it's called the porn filter bill.
We definitely talked about it on this podcast.
They require a warning now every time, and if not, you can be subject to criminal action. And
you have to click a little checkbox that says you're 18.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of making fun of that a little bit. So, and
that's good. You definitely, if you aren't already, but go to the page and check out all the comics. It's incredible.
Absolutely. That was pretty much my question. My next question was something that you're very proud of that hasn't come out yet.
Yep,
so.
Demon #2, I'm actually really proud of. It's probably the best art I've done. I mean, putting a lot of time and effort into it. And like I said, it's a satire of Daredevil, and I love Daredevil, so it's really cool.
Now, as we close out, I'm actually looking for these questions. I usually have these questions. You know who James Lipton is?
Not off the top, no.
Or was. Rest in peace to James Lipton.
Rest in peace and shouts out.
Shouts out to him. So he used to do this show. You could find it on YouTube now still. It's called Inside the Actor Studio, where he would just have all types of super famous actors come on. And basically he conducted an interview in front of a acting class. In like a small ass.
He was considered
theater.
like one of the greatest interviewers.
The greatest interview. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Seriously. So he would have all these actors come in, and then at the end of every interview, he would ask these 10 specific questions, which I'm about to ask you.
Okay.
And basically, the point of the questions is not to like be in deep thought. Is to like whatever you feel, just say what you feel.
Okay.
Yep.
You ready for this?
Okay.
All right. So here are the questions as soon as I can find them. I find them, I just can't find the other ones. Can we do like a pause right now?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, we can always I could plug something while you find it.
We do that.
I got plenty of shit to plug. I have a new YouTube channel out by the time this releases. It's called Trevin's World. I guess I can plug that. It's my new personal channel for anything that I can conceive of. So you should go check that out. I'm going to be adding a new podcast, I think. But also, the idea, people keep asking me, well, what's it about? What's this channel for? It's not. That's my answer. Sometimes, often I put myself in a box when I create a format for a show or a project where I feel like if I get any kind of idea to make content, I have to find a way to make it fit into the format of the shows I already have or run. And I think that's where I've made a lot of mistakes in my early content creation. So this is my new personal channel for anything I feel like posting. And I'm going to start a regular, I don't know if the show will have a name by now, but I'm going to start a regular podcast. I'm going to try to do it like daily, just solo. So, yeah, that's Trevin's World on YouTube. Trevan is my name.
Sounds good, and I got those questions now.
All right, let's get it.
You ready for this, Travis?
Ready.
All right. Out of 10, here we go. What's your favorite word?
Validity.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice.
That's fucking beautiful. What's your least favorite word? Validity. No.
Failure.
Nice.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Watching others succeed.
What turns you off?
Watching people give up too easily.
Whew, that one hit a little bit hard. What is your favorite curse word?
Shit.
That's not a bad one. What sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of a baseball hitting a leather glove. I love baseball.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. What sound or noise do you hate?
Styrofoam.
Ooh, understandable.
Yeah.
Hate that.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I've got two. So
okay, go for it.
Are you talking? Well, no, I'm saying I'm in law enforcement and comics. So you're saying
neither of those?
Oh, good. I was about to say that makes it really easy. Actually, I think it'd be fun to teach.
Okay. What profession would you not like to do?
Trash man. I could never do that.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Hey, wake up way too early.
Yeah. It's way too hard to work. I admire those men so much.
True. Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrived at the pearly gates?
So, there's an awesome comic. It's not mine.
But
this
is already
It's
great.
amazing. This guy goes to the pearly gates, and he said, the guy's asking St. Peter, I made comic books. Did I waste people's lives? And he goes, you made thousands of comics. You wasted thousands of people's lives. So that's what I'd want to
That
hear.
one?
Yeah.
That is beautiful. You've wasted thousands of people's lives.
Yeah.
Those are the questions. I have one follow-up question. Who's your baseball team?
The Mets.
Well, that's been another great episode, you guys. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. Cubs fan too.
That's football.
Yeah, Cubs fan too. But yeah, we really want to thank you and say we appreciate you, dude, for coming on this. This has been such a great episode.
Well, thank you.
I'm with Trevin. I'm very pleasantly surprised that you were funny.
Oh, well, like I said, you introduce a comic art. Hello.
It's mostly because, I'll tell you off air. But anyway,
Is that the ice cream truck guy?
Ice cream truck. Damn it, foiled again.
Is there anything else that you want to plug, or where can people find all your stuff?
Social media, all that stuff. Let the camera know.
Rocky Mountain Comics on Facebook and Instagram. You can go to, again, big plug for Dr. Volts and the Nerd Store. They are awesome guys, awesome stores. They're local. Please go spend your nerd money there. They are amazing. Yes. They've got everything, pops, comic books, merchandise. Go hit them up.
Oh, we need pops.
At Nerd Stores in Valley Fair Mall, and Dr. Volts is on 3300 South, just off of 2300 East. So
there you go. Your social media?
Yep. Facebook, Rocky Mountain Comics. Instagram, Rocky Mountain Comics. And then Velleity Studios also has its own page on Facebook.
We appreciate you. Could you spell Velleity Studios?
Velleity.
All right,
Perfect.
There we go. And then we'll, of course, also have it at the end of the YouTube video. So if you haven't watched it, go to the video and then subscribe.
Yeah. And, as usual, I have been Trevin, a.k.a. The Chosen One.
Mm-hmm.
Follow my new YouTube channel and subscribe, please, with notifications on Trevin's World. It's really easy. You don't even have to watch my videos. Just subscribe. It helps. I'm just kidding. Follow my TikTok at what? UH_what
it's
and then
UHH.
0. Is it UHH?
Yeah, you got 2 H's in there.
Okay, it's UHH.
Underscore.
Follow our parent company, Vision Media, at Vision with a ZVIZION Media. How you think it's spelled, LLC, on all platforms except for Facebook, because they won't let me change it. On Facebook, it's Vision Media 1. Just number one. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you guys again, really. Every week, I'm so appreciative that you guys keep listening.
Yeah, we do appreciate you.
I love this show.
Seriously.
I love you guys. So,
and I have been RJ, aka Reg Travels on everything. We appreciate you guys for listening. Go follow us on all social medias. That's Convo Series, CONVOSARIES. I wasn't sure I was going to get that off correctly. Go follow us, Convo Series on everything. Convo Series Podcast on YouTube. Go ahead and drop a subscribe for us. Turn on those notifications. Make sure they're on so you know when we have new episodes with new guests. And until next time, we
subscribe
appreciate...
to Patreon.
Yes, thank you. I almost got out of here with that. Make sure you subscribe to Patreon. You can subscribe for as little as $1.
And as much as
$50, but that comes with
free merch.
We also have content on there. Make sure you go ahead and get on those contents. Was that it, Trevin? Am I good to go?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so everybody, again, Travis, a.k.a. Rocky Mountain Comics, we really appreciate you for coming. We want to thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
You
It's
guys,
such a blast today.
Seriously, you guys go follow him on all that stuff. Follow us on all that stuff. We love the shit out of you, and until next time, peace.